Alright guys, so this is going to be a remake of a fanfiction idea I did not too long ago, actually. I did this last year sometime, I think sometime summer, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll bring this one back, and this is The Death of Space Ghost. The Death of Space Ghost was a fanfiction that was based on the death of Captain Marvel, which is sadly enough, Marvel's Captain Marvel's best known story. But anyway, so let's get started with the video. So the story is that this version of Space Ghost is kind of in a shared cartoon universe, and in this universe, Space Ghost has been around since the 1950s, 60s era, along with all the other like Hanna-Barbera superheroes. They were kind of like the Justice Society of this universe. And Space Ghost came down to Earth. He was an alien by the name of, in the Future Quest storyline, he went by a different name. He went by an alien name. I think his name was Chirel. So that was his name, Chirel. He came down to Earth and took on he lived among humans and took on the name Thaddeus Bach, which was the name he had in the Joe Casey Space Ghost comic with all the covers by Alex Ross. So that kind of marriages the two together in this continuity. So yeah, Space Ghost has been around, and Space Ghost ages slow. So Space Ghost was kind of like in this universe, kind of like he was still around. He did retire, but he did get to help mentor like the new generation of superheroes, like Danny, Kim, Randy, Manny, all these other like young superheroes. But unfortunately, one day, while while Space Ghost is out, patrolling the starways and doing battle with Zorak, what happens is he's battling Zorak. He defeats him, but after the end of it, he starts like coughing, and he just like starts coughing up blood, and he's like, oh, that's not good. So he goes to see. He like flies back down. He flies back to Earth and is like, I think there's something wrong with me. And they like check it, he flies back down, he goes to meet the Autobots, and he believes their technology can help figure out what's wrong with him. They tell him, yeah, dude, Thaddeus, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have cancer. And he's like, oh dear. So Space Ghost, like the Autobots are like like Prime goes to talk to him, and he's like, Space Ghost, you've been a friend to the Autobots since we revealed ourselves to the Earth. We will do everything in our power to like help cure you of this cancer. If Autobot science can help you. And he's like, no, it's fine. I'll you guys stay here. You guys don't need me as a distraction. And Space Ghost like leaves because he needs like a moment to process this. Like Thaddeus needs a moment to like process what he just heard, and he's just like, holy shit, I have cancer. And he's like, he doesn't, because the thing is, in this continuity, Jan and Jace have split ways with him. Like, they're no longer his young space cadets, and they've basically retired. Thaddeus just kept going as Space Ghost for a while. He was kind of like Jay Garrick, where even despite his age, he was still like a great fighter. So Thaddeus, like, he doesn't like he basically like goes back to his mountain and is like, contemplating this, and he's like, I had a good run, but this isn't how I expected to die. Like, I always expected to die fighting like Brax or the Creature King or Metalis or even Zorak. I was like, that's the death I was expecting. But like now, on like one hand, he's like, I get to go be with my family, like, because his family's dead. So he gets to like he's come to accept it, and he's like, yeah, now I get to go be with my family who are all dead, and I get to go stay. I get to, I'll just die here I'll just die in peace. But however, the Autobots basically the Autobots after that whole thing with Thaddeus and like finding out about cancer, they basically told everybody, like Optimus and the other Autobots like told the other superheroes in the community, like, hey, Space Ghost has cancer. And they're like, oh shit, really? So word spreads like a wildfire, and it even reaches out into outer space, and even like some of his Space Ghost villains are like, that sucks. So while Space Ghost is just kind of like living alone on like he's been up there for a few days. He is like taking care of himself. He's not like waiting to die. He's actually like, yeah, this is not fun, but I don't want to have people see me like this. Like I don't want people like the people I mentored to see me in such a weak position. So I'm just gonna stay here, take care of myself, treat myself as much as I can, and just go in peace. They don't need to see me like this. And the first person who comes to see him is Jan, one of his former sidekicks. And Jan comes down, and she heard over the starways, and she's just like, hey, Terrell, like, you weren't gonna call us. Like, I came as soon as I heard. And with her, like, the Galaxy Trio also came to see you. And they, we could have figured something out. I was like, no. Space Ghost reveals that he ran tests. Like, he was like, even if you could find a thing for cancer, there was no way you were going to treat my cancer, because it turns out the bands he wears mutated his cancer even more. So if you could find if by some miracle you could have found a cure for cancer, it mutated it in a form of way that it wasn't going to work. So Space Ghost is just like, I didn't want you to see me like this, and also how bad things how bad things ended for me and, you and your brother. I didn't want you guys to see me like this. And she's like, I don't know where Jace is, but I'm gonna stay with you. So Jan offers to help take care of Space Ghost, and it's by that point when all these other heroes start coming from Earth to come see Space Ghost. And they're all coming from Earth, even the Autobots and other space heroes are shepherding them over to go see Space Ghost. And Space Ghost, the first person who really wants to go see him is Danny. In this continuity, Danny Phantom and Space Ghost were basically like Barry Allen and Jay Garrick, where Danny was a huge fan of Space Ghost because, it's not just because it was the ghost thing. It was more you're a cosmic hero and you were one of the first. So Danny also loved, as we know as the character, he always loved space and wanted to be an astronaut. And he would go on, he always got, in this continuity, he could go on these cosmic adventures with Space Ghost. So Danny's the first one because it's his mentor in this continuity dying, and he's you should have came to me for you didn't tell me, dude. I'll do anything I can. Maybe I can find something in the ghost zone to save you. And Thaddeus goes, no, Danny, listen. You've been you're a great kid. You've been a great hero, but you can't help me, man. There's nothing you can do. So, I mean, the only thing you can do right now is just stay here and talk. And he's and Danny has this moment because he's I can't deal with that. But he's he stops her and he's okay. So Danny tells all these stories about him and Space Ghost's adventures. Kim is also it was they're going on about times they've hung out. There was also other heroes that are just showing up and giving condolences and meeting them. There's a moment where Ironhide is telling this telling a rousing tale of the Space Ghosts and Autobots doing battle with the Decepticons and Metalis, and among all the heroes among all of the heroes there's a moment with Luz from Owl House. She's Luz is Ironhide's hey Luz, you went on it, you met Space Ghost, you tell us an adventure. And he's Luz I gotta go. So Luz gets up and leaves, and Ironhide's where are you going? Don't come back here, you coward. And Space Ghost's whoa, let it go, Ironhide. Something tells me this is a little too real for her. And sure enough, it is, because obviously her dad died of cancer, and it's upsetting to see Space Ghost like this because it's reminding her of her dad. And Danny goes to talk to her, and like she tells him, yeah, it's like, this is like reminding me of the times I saw my dad like this, and to see like a great hero like Space Ghost like waste away like that, it's upsetting. And Danny's like, I know, but all we can do is like just be there for him. If you don't want to be here, like, there's no shame in just leaving. Like, no one's gonna hold it against you for not wanting to be here, because it's not gonna end, because you already know how this is gonna end. And she's like, I know, but is there anything we can do to help him? And Danny like thinks for a minute, and he's like, there is something. So Danny, Luz, and a few of the other heroes go to look for Jace, because Jace ain't shown up yet. So, and even Jan is like, I'll go with you, because that asshole needs to be here for this. Meanwhile, while the other heroes are looking for Jace, the heroes get a message that some villains are coming, and they're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Like, what are they gonna do? So the villains show up, and the first one who shows up is Brax. And remember, this isn't like, fun time Adult Swim Brax. This is like space pirate Brax, and he's just like, everyone's like got weapons drawn and like they're ready to fight. But Brax shows up and he's like, you were a valiant warrior, Space Ghost. You didn't deserve to die like this. And you should have died in it should have been so much more if you died in battle. But, you were a valiant adversary, and you have nothing but my condolences and sympathy. And he gives, Brax takes out a sword and, places it next to Space Ghost, and he's like, I salute you, I salute you, Space Ghost. You are a worthy adversary, and may your your end be swift, and your prizes in the afterlife be plentiful. So Brax gives him the sword and goes on his way. Another villain who shows up are the Decepticons, because the Space Ghost has been battling Megatron as well. So Megatron is on his best behavior with Soundwave and Starscream flanking him, and Megatron gives his you deserved a warrior's end, and we give you the Decepticon Medal of Honor for being a worthy foe. They leave. And then another villain who shows up. Another villain who shows up is sorry, literally, it's been a long day, so that just literally it left my mind. Another villain who does make their appearance is from Earth, and that villain who came up all the way from Earth was David Xanatos. Again, not really a villain, but he reveals that Space Ghost and I tussled a few times, and it was kind of fun because I was battling superhero royalty, and he's like, if I could give you guys a cure for cancer, I would. But I can't, so all I can do is just I'm negotiating with the Smithsonian to make a Space Ghost wing in your honor, and also honor the other superheroes that you fought alongside in the 50s and 60s, honor you and all of them. So there's that whole plot line. But by the end of it, by the other end, Danny, Luz, and the other heroes have found, Jan has led the others to find Jace, and he's at some ass end of the galaxy, and essentially Jace has been him and Space Ghost really had a Batman Robin kind of falling out, and Jace doesn't want to go back. He's been Nightwinging it up. He's just been not Nightwinging. He's more Boba Fetting it up, where he's been a bounty hunter. But it's more I'm doing bounty hunting gigs for people who deserve to get hunted down, dead or alive. I'm not taking someone who doesn't deserve to get blasted in the face. If it's some slaver or cross-galaxy murderer, oh, I'm coming after him. And plus, I get paid for it. But Jace is I heard about Space Ghost, but I don't care. he's gonna like that old bastard's gonna die, can die slow, and Jan and the others are like, you're coming back, and he's like, or what? You guys are gonna tell me otherwise? And Danny goes, oh, you're coming, you're coming with us, even if we have to drag you back, because Danny even says, even you know you want to be, you just don't know what to say to him. So either you go willingly, or we drag you. Either way, you're coming. So Jace reluctantly goes to see Space Ghost, and he's already like on his deathbed, just breathing he's like breathing hard, he's wasting away. And Jace, like, the moment he sees him, he's like, oh my god. And he goes and talks to him, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry we had that falling out. I'm sorry I called you like a bastard and all that. I just didn't know, and why I stayed away, because I didn't know, and I was too damn stubborn, and I just didn't know what to say to you, and I thought staying away would be better, because I would remember you as Space Ghost, not this. And he's like, you're always going to remember me as Space Ghost, Jace. So they get their closure, and by the end of it, Space Ghost dies. Like, at the end of it, Space Ghost, like, gives off one final breath, and he passes away. And the whole galaxy fucking mourns for Space Ghost. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much the death of Space Ghost. You guys, like I said, it was a remake of a story I did like a year or so ago. Just thought it'd be fun to remake it. Anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this story? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.